Chapter 17. Rapahaman! Rapahaman! Wake up! What's happened? I think we made it. What the hell is the high priest talking about? Then everything comes back to me in a rush. We're still in the cabin. The boat is rocking gently as if floating on water. We go outside to take a look. Is this the Nile? It seems so. But where along the river are we? When my eyes adjust to the bright sunlight, I study the landscape on the near bank. I'm looking east, and I recognize the semicircular cliffs that enclose the valley. When the pharaoh and I passed this stretch on our way to Menphi, and he told me about Queen Nefertiti and Pharaoh Akhenaten, there was nothing left of their city, Akhetaten, but dust and ruins. What I see now, sandwiched between the river and the cliffs, is the city of Akhetaten at its height. To the left is a monumental white structure, with two long jetties extending into the Nile. It must be the royal palace. I take a deep breath. I no longer smell the polluted air of the 21st century. I feel reinvigorated. Egypt, my land, how I've missed you. I look at the high priest. He's wiping a furtive tear from his cheek. I look away to avoid embarrassing him and to wipe my own tears. So, first things first, he says, sighing. Let me remove the bandage from your head. You look like a study for mummification. Thanks to you. He unravels the bandage, none too carefully. Why is he staring at my head? It's not my star, I ask, panicking. You didn't ruin my star? No, your star is fine. I told you back in New York the wound was just to the side of it. But please do not move, and close your eyes. The high priest's fingers are moving around on the top of my head. What's wrong? My legs begin to shake. You can open your eyes now, he says finally, holding a pair of small scissors in his right hand. I removed the stitches. You did not feel a thing, did you? Am I scarred for life? Of course not, he says in a dismissive tone. The fur has begun to grow. Your head will be fine. And now that you are less likely to attract attention, we can begin our mission. The Nile is alive with boats, some docking, others leaving. Some of the boats docking carry a cargo of fresh fish, the skins glimmering in the sun. The odor makes me salivate. I had better dock the boat there, the high priest says, pointing at an empty space between two large boats. I'll help you. No, that will attract even more attention than your bandage. You have to behave like an ordinary cat. Otherwise, the authorities might detain us. But Nefertiti is here. She'll protect us. Rapahaman, you forget that the Nefertiti we will meet here does not know us. He's right. We have no more time to waste in idle chat. I have to dock the boat. What you can do is practice being an ordinary cat. Stay on all fours and meow instead of talking. I comply, performing my repertoire of meows while the high priest docks the boat. The high priest in the lead, we walk along the quay. It's alive with noise and activity. Cargo boats are being loaded or unloaded. Lines of dock workers carry goods to and from the boats like busy ants. Some of the goods deposited on the quay are soon put on backs of donkeys by men working for impatient, loud-mouthed merchants whose orders mix with loud brays. Other goods the merchants trade between themselves on the spot. The foreign merchants speak their own language, but laced with Egyptian words. The Egyptian merchants curse them and their cheapness, but with a smile. Egyptians are kind people for the most part, even in business. Suddenly, a fisherman lays a basket full of fish on top of my right forepaw. I suppress all the colorful human curses I've learned over the years and loudly meow instead. Unaware of my injury, the high priest turns to whisper, "Enough practice for now." To console myself, I snatch a fish from the basket. Egyptians revere cats, but, as I've had occasion to note, there are exceptions. The fisherman kicks me in the rump, and the kick sends me flying past the high priest. "What's your hurry?" he asks. He again takes the lead and walks as if he knows where he's going. He moves so fast I lose sight of him in the crowd. I try picking up his scent, but hundreds of smells fill the air, from pig's manure to sweet incense. Panic sets in when a child bends down to pet me. Mother, look what I found!" he screams with joy to a tall, overweight woman. "Leave the beast alone. It might belong to someone." "Please, Mother, let me keep him." The child pets me so hard I'm pinned down to the ground. I struggle to free myself from his small hands, but they're so strong I can't break his grip. He'd surely let me go if I bite him, but I don't have the heart to do it. He puts his hands around my stomach and tries to lift me up. Coming to his assistance, his mother takes me out of his hands, holds me tight in hers, and raises me to her chest. "We can't afford keeping a cat as fat as this one," she says, laughing. "He'll eat us out of house and home." I've never been so offended in my life. Well, I have, but not for a long time. Why doesn't the high priest come back to look for me? He'd tell this woman I'm a very special cat, and she should put me down and apologize to me. "Oh, Mother, please." My ears can't believe what they hear next. "All right, we'll take him home." Just my luck to run into a weak parent. The only thing to do is to bite hard on one of the woman's thick biceps. She screams and throws me up into the air. Aloft, I look for the high priest. I spot him yards off, elbowing his way through the crowd, but he's headed in the opposite direction. If only it were safe for me to talk, I'd call after him. What goes up must come down, and I land on a donkey's head. The silly beast takes off like an arrow, braying at the top of his lungs. I dig my claws into his fur and hold on for dear life. People are moving out of our way, swearing at us both. One voice stands out from the rest. The donkey's owner is hurling curses at me that would make even a veteran soldier blush. I look over my shoulder. He's right behind his donkey. Just my luck. The man who's threatening to skin me alive is in good physical shape. Fearing my life is about to be ended, I see what, in the circumstances anyway, is a beautiful sight. "Rapa Hamen," the high priest says. "I see you have hitched a ride." I jump off the donkey's head onto his shoulder. "Don't ask questions," I scream. "Run!" Thank the gods, for once he does what he's told. Indeed, he takes off like a professional sprinter. It seems Elena's cooking hasn't completely ruined him. I no longer hear the donkey's owner cursing me, and when I look over my shoulder, I don't see him chasing us. I guess all he really wanted was his donkey back. It's said of the common folk they readily forgive, but prudence dictates I shouldn't put this to the test by going back to face the man. The high priest's running has taken us to a road. On one side are groves of fruit trees, and on the other is a barley field. "You can stop now," I say. "We're out of danger." He looks around to make sure no one can hear us. He lifts me off his shoulder, a bit too roughly for my taste, but I let it go since he's saved my life. Sets me down under a tree, then joins me in the shade. "How is it that we have not been in ancient Egypt but 10 minutes, and you are already in trouble?" "I lost track of you. The child had me pinned down. His mother grabbed me." "You are exhibiting symptoms of what in the future will be known as a persecution complex. Armchair psychologist, be silent. Someone is coming." A group of guards is marching towards us. When they reach our tree, one of them, the leader I assume, points at me. "Is that your cat?" he asks the high priest. "Yes. Why?" "We're looking for a savage cat that assaulted a woman and then a donkey." How the facts get twisted. My cat has been with me all the time. And look at him. Does he look savage? I begin to groom myself, partly to look innocent, but also so I can cover my star with my paw, just in case the woman and the donkey's owner have included it in their description. The guard studies me. I avoid his stare. "You're right. It's just a dumb beast. I keep him out of pity. Well, if you should see that wild animal, keep away. It's dangerous. I will. Thank you for the warning." When the guards resume marching, the high priest mumbles, shaking his head. "You are not only paranoid, but dangerous." I'm so relieved the guards are gone, I ignore his comment. "Should we move on?" I ask. "I must rest for a while longer. That run took it out of me." He closes his eyes. I'm also tired, but too excited to be back in my native land to take a nap. Instead, I study my surroundings. It's Shimu, the harvest season. The high priest got us here in the right season. But is it the right date? Remembering past mishaps, I remain skeptical, but I'll keep it to myself to avoid a lecture on the difficulties of wording prayers precisely. Laborers are in the field. The reapers are cutting the ripened barley. They hold the heads of grain in one hand and use the other to cut below them with a sickle. "The autumn has been kind," they chant. "The barley has grown. The beer will flow." The reapers are followed by gleaners with baskets. They pick up the heads of grain that have fallen to the ground during the cutting. I remember that the gleaners often squabble. Each gets to keep part of the grain he finds, so they compete with one another. Sure enough, some of the gleaners begin squabbling, and I become reacquainted with some colorful Egyptian curses. The noise brings the high priest back to consciousness. What is that? It's a disagreement over barley. By the way, I'm hungry. Shush, he says, looking in the direction of the laborers. They might hear you. Don't worry, they're too busy and too far away. The high priest opens the small cloth sack on the cord around his waist and takes out 2 sandwiches wrapped in foil. He unwraps one of them and places it on the ground in front of me with the foil under it. I look at him, puzzled. Sorry, Rappahamon, he explains, but you must get used to eating your food on the ground like an ordinary cat. I wait for him to remove the foil from the other sandwich. When I see it's the same size as mine, being an ordinary cat shouldn't mean getting smaller portions. I start eating. Food is food, whether you pick it up with your paws to eat it or pick it up from the ground with your teeth. I've never enjoyed a sandwich so much, I say when I finish. It was just ham and cheese, says the high priest. What made it special was eating it here in our native land. I suppose you're right. He again reaches inside the small sack. I'm hoping to see another sandwich, but it's just a piece of paper. I move closer to him, and he holds the paper under my nose. There's a series of blocks with lettering inside. It is an archaeological map of Akhetaten, he explains. I ripped it out of one of the books in Nefertiti's library. Can you tell from this where we are? I study the map for a moment and point at the block labeled The Fields. We're here. Excellent. How did you work it out? Well, I started with the block labeled the Great Palace. It's to our left, which is north. I saw the palace from the boat. When we ran away from the donkey's owner, we headed south of the palace and crossed a stretch of desert between the quay and... I point to another block on the map. These enclosures and storehouses. Then we turned east onto this road. I move my claw again, and ran along the edge of the fields. Well done, Rappahamon. But you erred by saying we ran. I did the running. You had a ride. Now commit this map to memory before we eat it. Eat it? I have seen people eat pieces of paper in movies I watch on Elena's television. Has television turned the high priest's brain to mush? Why do people eat pieces of paper in the movies? I ask, humoring him. To destroy the evidence, of course. What evidence do you wish to destroy? Evidence that we have come from the future. How could we explain this piece of paper to an ancient Egyptian? Does the word papyrus mean anything to you? This paper is much finer than papyrus, and on it is a map of the city with words from an unrecognizable language. If we are caught with it, it will raise questions we will not be able to answer. Makes sense. But it's enough he shared his concern with me. I don't want him to share the map as well. He can eat it all. He hasn't mentioned the aluminum foil. What do people in the movies do when the evidence they want to destroy is used aluminum foil? I ask him. Eat it? His face turns a hot shade of pink. I did not think of that. He ponders for a few seconds. We will bury it. Back in ancient Egypt for less than an hour, and we're polluting the environment already. May the gods forgive us. Hey, you! Shouts a bare-chested, portly man coming towards us. You're not one of my crew. This is private property. Get going! Jolted into action, the high priest crumbles the map and shoves it in his mouth, then picks the foil up from the ground and crushes it in his fist. By the time the man reaches the tree, we're on our way. And don't come back! We've gone 100 paces down the road that skirts the fields when the high priest starts coughing. He stops walking, doubles over, and spits up bits of paper. Passing by is a caravan of donkeys loaded down with goods. Some people get drunk while others sweat to make a living, says the man leading the donkeys. Shame on you. It serves you right to be sick. As if agreeing, one of the donkeys lets out a long bray. Rappahamon, the high priest begins, pausing to spit out another bit of paper. If we ever get back to the future and you see me turn on the television, please hit me on the head. Gladly, I say under my breath.